stopping by again. It's been a long time, and people probably thought I dropped off a cliff or something. I've been extraordinarily busy, and matters of concern have kept me tied up in knots. And it's not Panama. Yes, there's a mining dispute going on now, and the world is not coming to an end. That's not what I'm referring to. But, I spent almost all my life, right up until the period when I've been here, as a geopolitical analyst. I hate that term. I just think it's so presumptuous, but that's what they use. So, and I had to be. This is what I did for a living for decades. Sometimes on a national level, but on a regional level, and then on a continental level, and then eventually on a global level. It makes it impossible for me to completely ignore what's going on around me. And I have been swamped with, obviously, the ongoing Ukraine affair. And now, of course, the Middle East, boom, it blows up. But I'm looking at a lot of other things, too. Azerbaijan and Armenia are having a very dangerous disagreement. And Serbia and Kosovo are sort of looking at each other, not in a nice way. There's potential for violence in both of those areas. We have all sorts of other things going on elsewhere, too, that can be possibly, everybody's watching Taiwan, what's going to happen there. I mean, you got so much of this stuff going on that it's trying to keep track of it all is a major challenge, but that's not all. Now we have, those are the political things, which I don't go into detail about here, but there are other things as well, and water is one of them, and we're concerned with that, as you undoubtedly have heard. But I'll put a couple of links down. I think there's one to Mexico City is facing severe problems, and they're already at the point of reducing the amount of water availability to people. This early, not a good sign. And another to Brazil, Manaus, which is at the end of the Amazon River, the whole Amazonian basin. Wow, what the drought is doing there is just bizarre. So I'll put a link down there. It's basically nothing more than photographs, like 25 of them. You just keep scrolling down and you'll see more and more and more. The damage that's being done at the Amazon to the people, to the animal life, to the business of everything there, the hundreds of thousands of people who are in grave danger, having to be moved out. It's not a pretty scene. Now, this is a nation of 220 million people, so 600,000 doesn't seem like many in this particular respect, but trust me, trying to deal with that many people scattered over as rough a territory as the Amazon. Wow. Okay. So there's all of this going on, too, plus plenty more on the climate side. And one of the weirdest hurricane seasons we've had, although very little damage so far to our part of the world, not by our part, I mean the actual Western Hemisphere. Could happen any time. We're running out of names. We're going to switch to the backup list of names for hurricanes now, since we are near. I think we have 2 left on the old list. So all of that is coming along as well, and very fast and very rough. And we here, of course, are facing problems which have been grossly exaggerated in some areas. Some of the YouTube videos are up there. They're up there forever, And some are way back when they talk about 200 ships being, stuck out in the ocean. And no. I worked with as the CEO of a firm that handled land transportation in Africa in this particular case. But I was hired to run it as a subsidiary to a ships brokerage and ships agents in Washington, D.C., who've been in the business for decades. They were shippers to the core. They lived it, they breathed it, they were up in it. They knew everything there was to know about the Panama Canal and a lot of other things, too. The people in the shipping business are really very knowledgeable, and they do their jobs very well. So keep that much in mind. We hear a lot of talk around it, but it's being sorted out as best it can be. The important thing for the country's viewpoint was that at the end of the fiscal year, September, the $2.5 billion, $2,500 million dollars that the Canal had planned to provide the government at the end of its fiscal year, September 30th, got provided. And the goal for next year is a little short of that, so it's a 2.9% drop. So there are ways of dealing with this, and they're using them. But we don't know, and it could get worse. And we know we may have to go to being, what they typically do is close government offices late afternoon, open up in the early morning so they don't have to put the air conditioning on, as long or at higher temperatures. They may have a maximum temperature for businesses, but when that happened, it's happened once in all these years, people followed it. I mean, we take it seriously here. We'll work, as usual, we'll work as a society to get through this mess because it's outside, if you like, attack, so to speak, on the country, and nothing brings people together faster here than that. So this is something I have to follow all of this as well. And I do, including the situation with wildfires in Canada and what may be working up to in Australia. And again, isn't it an interesting life we lead? So I've got all this going on, as well as the situation in Panama, which includes this mining controversy. It's a copper mine. It's already functioning. It's been functioning for a while now. It's been negotiated, then renegotiated, and it is as complicated and screwed up a situation as I've seen ever put together, and it shouldn't have been, right? But I think they just assumed it would just shoot right through and it would be okay. Well, it's an election year, guys. What did you expect? And so they have to take sides, and people get extremely touchy and very powerful in their language and in their emotional feelings. This is when it comes out, is during these election campaigns. Then we all, get back to learn. It's hard to explain to you exactly what goes on, but if you've lived in another Latin American country for any length of time, or if you're there, God forbid, in Nicaragua at the moment, or Ecuador at the moment, or so forth, you got to feel for these people because they don't know what the future holds. They have their dreams and their hopes, but very little money to act on it, and very little time. We have money and we have time, not as much as we need. The debt level, we hear about all of this, and yet ours is still much more manageable than is true in most Latin American countries. So, simply put, we have no reason to be ugly and nasty and harmful to anybody, and as a result of a political dispute. The couple times in the 20 years I've been here, when I've seen acts of violence years ago, the reaction was from the entire public was negative, and they came down like a ton of bricks, so to speak. And the people who were responsible were the people who were threatening to do some of that, maybe, if they have to, this time around. I sincerely hope they do not do it, because they will lose their point, and their allies are going to wish they'd never been around them. So we'll see. I'm not going to predict anything, but I'm not going to worry about it. And traffic's going to be fouled up. Some people will be annoyed, but you're in no danger. If you're coming down, don't worry about it. We'll be okay. We'll get you where you're going eventually, but you're in no danger. And that's the important thing. So I'll let you know more about it as it unfolds. I wanted to be here and tell you what was happening, and leave it at that. And if you want to subscribe, please do. The newsletter, yes. The newsletter is on hold because I want to see where this goes, at least for a couple of days, so I can comment on it in the newsletter, because I don't send them out very often. So, I hate to miss some big thing coming right down the road, and it's been doing that for the last couple of weeks. When I know that my newsletter could be instantly out of date, if I don't watch my step. So the truth is 90% of what's in there is going to be in there anyhow. We're talking about 5-10% maybe that might shift a bit in emphasis. I don't know. We'll find out when the time comes. But I didn't want anybody thinking that, as people do, it's incredible, that I'm nervous or I'm worried or so where did Bob go back to the U.S.? You've got to be kidding. I'm trying to stay away from trouble, walk back into the middle of it. No, thank you. Now, I think I have every reason to say, as I've said before, I could be in any place I want to be, and I'm right where I need to be and where I'm happy, and I feel perfectly comfortable here. And if I thought life was going to be a walk in the park or a tea party or whatever, I'd be pretty annoyed right now. But I've never believed it. It's never been true. It never will be true. So I might as well be in a nice area where I can have a decent life and support the folks around me in whatever decision they make and whatever direction they take, and that is precisely what I will do. So if you're interested in that newsletter, go over to retirementwave.com and subscribe, and you can unsubscribe anytime your heart desires. It's right at the bottom of every newsletter. You can just, leave. And they come out 2 or 3 times a year. You're not going to get swamped. There's no advertising at all. So I will get on with that, and when that comes, it'll be the next time I'll be on here. It will be to say I've sent it out, and here's a summary of some of the points of what things you might want to look for. There's quite a bit of stuff in there this year. Anyhow, thank you for your patience and for stopping by. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Sooner.